Okay, so in this segment, we're talking about gym equipment that you need as you get older to increase your core strength and maintain it. And this is all about, being mobile as you get older, meaning that you can stand up and walk on your own. You can get on the floor and get back up on your own. You have the strength in your legs and your body to do the day-to-day task that's required for most people to do. Plus, this is a prepper's channel. You do want to be prepared for most things in life that may come your way. If you're not fit, if you're out of shape to the point that you can't stand and walk at least a mile or two at a time, you're really not prepared for much of anything. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the bench press. So here we have this is basically a bench press or squat stand that I got at Dick's Sporting Supplies a couple of years ago. And to get started, it's fine. I think it's rated for, I don't know, 400 maybe 600 pounds of weight, which is way more than I'll probably ever get to. So this is fine. The bench that came with this, not so hot. The bench is really the most important part of the bench press. You notice here on the press that we've got some J hooks to hold the weights. And then we have safety spotter arms here because most of us, when we're lifting at home, we have no one to spot for us. So with these spotter arms, I can lift the weights, and if I can't get the weights back up on the J hooks, I can just lower them down onto the spotter arms, which are still, several inches above my chest, so that I can get out from underneath the weight if I need to. Probably the most important part, though, of the bench press is the bench. You need to have support underneath you when you do the bench. This is a Rep Fitness flat bench. And I bought it with the wide pad. The wide pad is 14 inches wide. The standard pad is 12. I highly recommend the 14-inch pad because it really supports your shoulders when you're doing the bench press. If you're using a 12-inch pad, your shoulders are not very well supported, and you're going to feel the difference, I guarantee it. So I highly recommend the Rep Fitness flat bench. I think this is the FB 5000 for flat bench 5000 with the wide pad, 14 inches wide. It's an absolutely excellent bench, and it's not expensive at all. It's pretty reasonable pricing on this bench. So this is the bench press. You can get started, with as little as probably 150 or 200 pounds. When you buy a set of weights from someplace like Dick's, you get a set of, I think it's about 250 pounds of weights, plus the bar, which is usually another 45 pounds. You usually get the whole package for around 220 bucks, 240 bucks, something like that. And I recommend that if you're getting started. Additionally, in addition to the bench press, you can do dumbbells. So I have a pair over here of power blocks. And I believe these are the either 0 to, I think they're the 0 to, looks like 0 to 90. I think these are the 0 to 90 set. This was the basic set, so maybe it's 0 to 50, I'm not sure. But the power blocks here are great because you could adjust how much weight you want just by using this lever to select the weight. And then you just grab it and you pull it out. And so now you can see that I've got what I selected here. And this is on the black. So I believe that's 20 pounds right there. It's a 20-pound dumbbell. And you can slide it back in, and you can move this down, and you can select whatever weight you want. So I believe this was either the 50-pound or the 70-pound, I'm not sure, power block set, more than I need. In addition to dumbbells, stretch bands. So these are Amazon stretch bands, and the brand name is Draper. So this is a set of Draper bands, and it comes with, or I ordered it with, the accessory puck, which you can use to put over the top of a door, and then you can use the door as an anchor. But the purpose of the stretch bands, they can be used, in addition to the barbell if you really wanted to, but they can be used for exercise on the go. If you're traveling, you can throw these stretch bands in your suitcase along with the doorstop, and then you can use these to exercise. You can do assisted squats. If your hotel has a gym with a pull-up bar, you could do assisted pull-ups. You can put one end under your foot and do bicep curls with it. The accessory pack comes with the doorstop plus a couple of D handles, so you can attach it to a D handle. So, the stretch bands are a good addition, especially if your budget is low. The power blocks, the dumbbells are good, but you can do without those if you have access to a bench press. You really don't need the dumbbells if you've got access to barbells and a bench press, but they do allow you to do additional exercises. In addition to this equipment, I've also got a treadmill. The treadmill is great for doing cardio, and I don't recommend, and not just myself, but most people that I've listened to, Mark Rippetoe from Starting Strength, and several others, they don't recommend doing an excessive amount of cardio, especially as you get older. When you're lifting weights and you're following the Starting Strength model, you are lifting weights with minimal time between sets, going from one exercise to the next. And when you're lifting weights, you are doing cardio. Your heart rate is elevated. It's up for the length of time you're lifting weights. So I would approach the treadmill as 15 minutes, maybe no more than at the most 30 minutes of cardio, because you want to take it easy on your joints as you get older. Running is definitely not preferred as you get older. If you're over the age of 30, 35, you really need to consider no longer running or jogging and doing walking and other types of exercise to limit the impact on your joints. As you get older, if you continue to run, your knees and your ankles are not going to be forgiving to you as you get older. So you have to be smart about this stuff as we get older and start thinking about things. So the treadmill is great for warming up. Typically for me, about 15 minutes of a warm-up to get my muscles and everything warmed up before I start lifting. But you could do other types of cardio to get the heart rate up as well if you don't have access to a treadmill. I do have a wider Total Gym 1900. I use it occasionally, mostly for ab workout. So doing ab crunches, this is good for that. But back to the Starting Strength agenda, which is basically bench press, military press, or overhead press is sometimes referred to, deadlift, and squats, or what they call the clean. And we'll get into that a little bit later more. But basically, what I'm looking at is the bench. Eventually, I'll get into the overhead press and squats. So we talked a lot about the bench. The other thing that you can do here if you don't currently have a bench press, is you might consider what's called a power rack. Power rack is a rack system that's normally 80 inches to 93 inches or even taller, depending on what you buy. The power rack has 4 posts, and the purpose of the power rack is to not only do benches, bench pressing, but overhead press, pull-ups, dips, and you could also do it. It's also good for squats. So I don't currently have a power rack, but I do plan on getting one in the not too distant future. It just opens up for more exercises, especially the squat, pull-ups, chin-ups, and the clean, and exercises like that. Now, if you're a big person, if you're an overweight person, if you're someone that's got a physical disability, or just someone that's been sedentary for a long period of time, you're going to have difficulty trying to do squats. If you're like myself, I'm not really able to do a body weight squat. I can't squat down on 2 legs, maintain my balance properly, and then come back up on my own power. Therefore, the stretch bands can help with that. But to be honest, I've tried those. I've tried using the stretch bands and doing that. I've had not much success. So if you're not at a point where you can do squats, the question is, how do you effectively increase your leg strength? Well, if you can't do a body weight squat and you can't squat with weight on your shoulder, that leaves really one machine. And let's talk about that now. In my home gym, I have a leg press and hack squat machine. Let me back up here so I can get a picture of this for you. This is a Force USA leg press. Force MLPHS leg press and hack squat machine. This machine is worth its weight in gold as far as my opinion goes. If you want to effectively increase your leg strength, this is the way to do it. If you get to a point where you've increased your leg strength and your core strength to where you can do your body weight plus 100 pounds on this machine, then at that point, you may be ready to go and do a regular squat and a power rack with weight on your shoulders. And if you can, that's great, because that's a great place to be. But this machine is the absolute best way to get there. So you sit down in the machine and you put your feet on the platform. You've got some, and there's videos on YouTube you can watch to see how this really works. But you push up with your feet, you come back down. There's a safety bar in the middle there that you can adjust to determine how far the machine can come down. If you lose the strength to push back up, you want this to stop at some point and not injure yourself. So right there in the middle, you see there's a bar there, a chrome bar with a rubber stop on it, and a knob that you can adjust to determine where you want the safety stop to be. But when you use this machine, you can apply the weight there at the top. There's a bar that goes across. There's also a second bar in the back where you can see that right there, where you can add additional weight there. But for me, the top is all I'm using for now. And I've got, those are 45-pound plates, so I got 180, plus I think the platform itself that I'm pushing up is another 80 pounds. So I'm doing, I don't know, probably 260 or so, which is still less than my body weight, unfortunately. But this has allowed me to increase my leg strength over the past several weeks to the point now where I can get up a lot easier than I used to be able to get up. So, but I still got a long ways to go. I prefer to use this as the leg press because My hips and my back are isolated against the bottom, so the only thing that's moving are my legs. You have to be careful, especially if you're not a very mobile person. If you try to come down too far with your legs, you could end up hyperextending your hips and pinching a nerve in your back. And I did exactly that a couple of weeks ago. I was trying to see how far I could come down. And the next day, suddenly I felt a pinched nerve and some sciatica on my right leg. So I've been going to see the chiropractor for a couple of weeks now, and it's not quite back to normal, but it's getting there. It's back to a point where I can start doing leg press again. But I want to reiterate, don't come back down too far. If you come down to the point where your legs are parallel to the platform that you're pressing against, you've gone far enough. If you try to go too far, you're going to feel your legs and your hips hyperextending, and you could end up with a pinched nerve. So take it easy on this. Don't load it up with weight too much too fast. Better to go low and light. Do 10 reps, 3 or 4 sets of 10, and slowly build up that leg strength. Make sure you don't pinch a nerve in the process. And then work up to where you're doing 3 or 4 sets of maybe 5 reps. Add a weight that you can manage, but again, slowly build that up until you've reached the goal that you're looking for. Now you can fold this platform here flat. There is an adjustment pin here that allows you to fold this flat, and then you can take the backrest and you can attach it to the platform. Right there, there's 3 holes. And this allows you to lay back with your head between the pads and your arms holding those arm pads. And then you can do what's called a hack squat, where you're leaning back against the machine, your head between the pads, the weight on your shoulders, and then you squat down with this platform here at the bottom being where your feet are. The hack squat is an excellent squat to do. Because of my pinched nerve, the hack squat doesn't quite feel comfortable yet. As well as what you may notice when you do a hack squat is there seems to be a little bit more force on your knees, probably just because of the position. But for now, I'm doing the leg press, and that's working on building my leg strength. Also, the difference between the leg press and the hack squat has a lot to do with which leg muscles you're using the most, and where you position your feet also determines which leg muscles you're using the most. So you need to be careful of that. But if you're going to increase your mobility, if you're going to increase your core strength, and you can't currently do a squat with your own body weight and do that with your own body weight and be controlled, then go find a gym that's got a leg press machine, or you can do what I did and just buy your own. They're a bit pricey, but I think it's money well spent. And then when you're done with it, you can always sell it, and I'm sure you can get back most of your money. So the leg press machine, the bench press, these are the places where most people really need to start to develop their arms, their chest, their legs, their to some extent their back. Do some abdominal crunches, whether it's on a total gym or laying on a floor, whatever you have available to you. A little bit of cardio, but not too much. Don't overdo the cardio. So these are the machines that I wanted to show you, and in the future we are going to upgrade the squat rack that I have here to a power rack, and we'll talk more about that. Thank you very much.